Kenya has dominated global headlines, capturing the world's attention with a series of events that have sparked both outrage and inspiration. From Nairobi to the international stage, the nation has become a focal point for discussions about governance, social justice, and the power of youth movements. Each story more shocking than the last. The news cycle has been relentless, with each development adding another layer to the complex narrative unfolding in East Africa. Gen Z flood streets over finance bill, Kenya's youth say no. Fed up with economic policies they believed will disproportionately affect them, young Kenyans took to the streets in unprecedented numbers, demanding accountability and a fairer future. Then, a shoe hurled at President Ruto at a public rally, a symbol of raw frustration. This act, while controversial, underscored the deep-seated discontent simmering beneath the surface of Kenyan society. It was a visual representation of the growing divide between the government and its people. The headlines turned tragic. Blogger Albert Ojwang dies in police custody. Nation demands answers. The death of Ojwang, a vocal critic of the government, ignited a firestorm of outrage, with many Kenyans questioning the circumstances surrounding his death and demanding a thorough and transparent investigation. And then, masked vendors shot at close range by police in Nairobi CBD. This shocking incident, captured on video and widely circulated online, sparked further condemnation of police brutality and the excessive use of force against civilians. These aren't isolated incidents. They're part of a seismic shift, a fundamental change in the relationship between the Kenyan people and their government. A generation rising, a government under pressure. The youth are no longer content to sit on the sidelines, they are actively shaping the political landscape and demanding a seat at the table. Kenya's youth are demanding a better future, one where their voices are heard, their rights are respected, and their economic prospects are bright. Challenging leadership and institutions at their core. They are questioning the very foundations of power and demanding a more inclusive and accountable system of governance. The world is watching as Kenya's struggle mirrors a global fight, the powerful versus the people, now armed with smartphones and hashtags. Social media has become a powerful tool for organizing, mobilizing, and amplifying the voices of dissent. From social media to the streets, a new narrative is being written, one of defiance, loss, and relentless hope. Kenya's youth are sending a clear message. The old ways are over. Change is here. The future of Kenya is being forged in the streets, online, and in the hearts and minds of its young people. Kenya, more than safaris and marathon legends, is a powerhouse on Africa's east coast. Nairobi, the heart of the current unrest, is a bustling metropolis and a regional nerve center. It's a city of contrasts, tech startups beside informal settlements, opportunity beside inequality. Kenya's strategic importance is huge. Its port, tech scene, and global connections make it vital to Africa and beyond. The digital revolution has empowered youth, giving them tools to challenge authority like never before. These protests aren't just local, they have regional and global implications. The fight on Nairobi streets is about the future of one of Africa's most influential nations. The movement's engine? Kenya's Gen Z, digitally native, hyper-connected, and fearless. They use TikTok, X, and Instagram to dissect policies, fact-check leaders, and mobilize thousands in real time. With youth unemployment at 25%, frustration is high, new taxes feel like a final insult. Viral hashtags like #RejectFinanceBill 2024 dominate the conversation, catching the government off guard. This is modern activism. Infographics, live streams, and peer education, all coordinated online. Kenya's youth aren't just demanding a seat, they're building their own table, rewriting the rules of power. The spark? The government's finance bill, new taxes on essentials hitting youth hardest. Outrage exploded online, then in the streets, creative, peaceful, and determined. Protesters demanded a total rejection, not tweaks. Then, a shoe thrown at President Ruto became a viral symbol of defiance, resonating worldwide. It marked a break with old norms, youth rejecting deference to authority. The government, under immense pressure, withdrew the bill's most controversial parts. It was a stunning victory for Kenya's youth, proof that collective action works. The movement was emboldened, ready for even tougher battles ahead. The social contract had been rewritten by the people. The initial euphoria of the youth celebrating what felt like a monumental victory was palpable. There was a sense of hope in the air, a belief that their voices were finally being heard. But just as the celebrations reached their peak, tragedy struck, casting a dark shadow over the burgeoning movement. Blogger Albert Ojwang, a vocal critic and active participant in the protests, was arrested on charges of defamation. He was taken into police custody, and days later, the unthinkable happened. He was found dead within the confines of his cell, a chilling event that sent shockwaves through the nation. In an official statement, authorities declared the death a suicide, attempting to quickly close the case and quell any potential unrest. But the public, already wary of the government's narrative, refused to accept this explanation. There was a deep-seated skepticism, a feeling that something was being covered up. Immediately, #Justice for Ojwang began trending across all social media platforms, becoming a virtual rallying cry for those who demanded answers. The online outrage quickly translated into real-world action, as demands for an independent and transparent investigation grew louder and more insistent. People took to the streets, demanding truth and accountability. The pressure mounted, and eventually, an autopsy was conducted. The results were damning, revealing clear evidence of blunt force trauma. The truth was undeniable. Ojwang had been killed, not suicided, shattering the official narrative and igniting a firestorm of anger. This revelation confirmed the worst fears of many, exposing a pattern of police brutality and impunity that had long been suspected, but rarely acknowledged. The weight of public outrage became too much to bear, and the Deputy Inspector General was forced to step aside, a symbolic gesture of accountability. Several officers implicated in the death were swiftly arrested, further fueling the perception that justice was finally being served. But for the protesters, these actions were not enough. They saw it as a superficial attempt to appease the public, a band-aid on a much deeper wound. Ojwang's death transcended a single incident. It became a powerful rallying cry, a symbol of the systemic injustices that plagued the nation. The initial focus of the movement, which had been largely centered on economic grievances and tax policies, began to broaden. It evolved into a more comprehensive fight for justice, encompassing issues of police brutality, government corruption, and the overall erosion of civil liberties. The movement transformed into a powerful force advocating for fundamental human rights, demanding dignity and equality for all citizens. Ojwang's death served as a stark reminder of the inherent dangers of dissent, the risks faced by those who dared to challenge the status quo. It underscored the urgent and critical need for accountability within the government and law enforcement agencies, demanding transparency and an end to impunity. The protests, already significant, gained new momentum, drawing in individuals from all walks of life, united by a shared sense of outrage and a determination to see justice served. The movement was now fueled by an unwavering demand for justice, a commitment to ensuring that Ojwang's death would not be in vain. As anger over Ojwang's death simmered, a palpable tension filled the air. The initial spark of protest was threatening to ignite a wildfire of discontent, fueled by years of simmering grievances and a deep-seated distrust of authority. The people were demanding answers, and they were taking to the streets to make their voices heard. Another tragedy struck, a blow that would further inflame the already volatile situation. A mask vendor simply trying to make a living amidst the chaos was shot dead by police during protests. The incident sent shock waves through the community, adding another layer of grief and outrage to an already unbearable situation. He wasn't a leader, just an ordinary Kenyan caught in the chaos, an innocent bystander whose life was tragically cut short. He represented the everyday struggles of the common citizen, the person just trying to survive in a country grappling with political turmoil. The shooting, captured on camera by citizen journalists, shocked the nation. A collective gasp of disbelief and horror rippled across the country. It appeared to be a deliberate act, not a stray bullet, fueling accusations of excessive force and a blatant disregard for human life. The vendor became a martyr, his name etched into the collective memory of a nation yearning for justice. His death became a potent symbol of police brutality, a stark reminder of the dangers faced by those who dared to speak out against the government. Public grief turned to rage, a simmering anger that threatened to boil over into widespread unrest. The public demanded accountability, with calls for top police officials to be held responsible for the vendor's death, and for systemic reforms to prevent future tragedies. The incident galvanized thousands more to join the protests, swelling the ranks of those demanding change. The vendor's death stripped away any illusions about the stakes, revealing the true cost of silence and inaction. The fight was now about life and death, a battle for the very survival of justice and freedom. It was a fight for the very soul of Kenya, a struggle to define the nation's values and its future. The movement's demand for justice, once a whisper, became a sacred promise to the fallen, a solemn vow to continue the fight until justice prevailed. Kenya's struggle is more than protests. It's a generational battle for the nation's future. The youth are fighting for a new democracy, transparent, accountable, and just. The deaths of Ojwang and the mask vendor have transformed discontent into a full-blown movement. Through vigils, chants, and viral campaigns, young Kenyans mourn and organize. Each act of state violence only strengthens their resolve. Kenya's Gen Z is proving that real power lies in a united, informed citizenry. They're not just demanding change, they are the change, inspiring youth worldwide. The future of Kenya is being written now, in courage and protest, by a generation that refuses to wait.